Well, are you a national park junkie? Have you been bitten by the wonderful Wanderlust bug? It's the best bug there is. Well, from Who Rags and bandanas to T-shirts and decals, Jodi Canter started an online store just for you, and we're excited to have her join us on Big Blend Radio today to talk about her park adventures as well as her company, wanderlustmark.com, or you can go to nationalpark-junkie.com. And her company also helps to support the organizations that preserve and protect our parks for future generations. Welcome, Jodi. How are you?
I'm good, Lisa. Thanks for hosting me.
Hey, we're excited about this. I think what you're doing with your company is exciting to really just, hey, park lovers, here's some T-shirts for you that encompasses all the parks on there, and I love maps, and you have that, and it's exciting. But I wanted to start with, actually looking at national park travel. Is this something you did as a kid, and it's become a habit from when you were a young child?
Yeah, I think, you hear the same story resonate through a lot of people. They go to their first national park, and right away they're bitten. And, that happened to me when I was younger, much younger, and I did go with my family. But then we kind of stopped going for a while, but I knew I always had that kind of laying dormant inside me to go back. And so when I was older, in my 20s, I went with friends, and when I hit that first national park in my 20s, when I could really appreciate it as an adult, that was it. And I knew that that's where I belonged. And every summer since then, I've made it a point to go to at least one national park, sometimes two if I could fit it in. But, yeah, that's usually where my travel now revolves around, is hitting the national parks.
That's awesome. Do you know how many you've been to? Because I know you're in Chicago based, so I think isn't the closest one to you will be like the Pullman, but that's like a historic district. So you're looking at going on like hiking adventures, right?
Yeah, I'm a big hiker. I am in Illinois, which is the prairie state, so we don't have a lot of mountains to look at here. So I tend to gravitate more to the western national parks, but I don't focus on them, wholly. I'll go across the country. But
nice.
I'm sorry, I forgot what you asked me.
No, it's good. Yeah, I know. I was like, it was just as soon as you start talking about parks, I'm like drifting off into Bryce Canyon, and next thing you know, my mind's in Yosemite. It's like we should be off on a hike right now.
Yeah.
How many do you think you've been to?
Oh, how many I went to? Yeah, I think I've been to 27. I'm not a check off one and done kind of person. I know there's a lot of people that want to hit all the parks. There are 59 of them right now, and I've hit 27 of them, but several of them I've been back to multiple times. Like I can't get enough of Zion National Park. I can't get enough of Glacier National Park. I've been to the Rocky Mountains several times. So, again, gravitating more to those western mountains.
Yeah, the mountains it's so humbling. I mean, when you look at those just huge mountains, and Zion is incredible. I want to go, there's that hike where you're like in like this little rock canyon thing where you're actually walking in a river in the canyon. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, the narrows.
I've heard, yeah, that's it. I want to do that. Have you done that?
I have. I've not gone all the way through the canyon. I think you can actually do that in a couple of days hike kind of a thing. I spent an afternoon there and did a portion of that canyon. It's beautiful. The red rock above you, the water flowing, through your feet. It's an incredible sight.
I've heard that there's wild orchids that grow out there, and I want to see that. That's what blows my mind. Like when we went to the Everglades, and I could just there. Apparently, you can go and camp on these like little jetty things out in the water, and I think that's got to be interesting with pythons and gators and crocodiles out there. I want to do that. These little I don't know what they call them. I can't remember the name, but the Everglades, when we were going around there and hiking around there, I mean, it was so interesting to see bromeliads growing in trees. You see them in garden centers and everything, but to see them as wildlife, like wild plants, I should say, not wildlife, like animals, but to see them in their natural habitat growing in trees, these beautiful tropical plants, that's what amazes me about Zion having its own orchids. You wouldn't think that in the high desert, So to me, it's always amazing, that kind of thing that we see hiking around is seeing just the plant life. What is it for you? It's the mountains for you specifically?
Yeah, I tend to, really like the mountains, but then, when you get into Utah and the parks that they have there, to me are more, the rocks and the canyons, and there's just something about that desert spirit there I'm sure you know, living out where you live, that you kind of connect with that. But yeah, stumbling across, like you said, in the middle of the desert, the dry desert, you come across these plants. They're just growing wildly out there. It's just amazing to see. And water, falling and flowing. Yeah. Like, where does this come from?
Yeah. I know.
But you mentioned the Everglades.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, you mentioned the Everglades, too, and that, to me, even when I go back and look at my pictures from there, it still takes me by surprise, the different variety of, birds and plants and trees that were out there. And the fact that you have got alligators and crocodiles kind of just walking around all over the place is incredible, too.
Did you do the Ahinga Trail? It's like that little boardwalk, and there was like gators and ducks floating next to them. I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like,
isn't that crazy?
It was crazy. And they're right there. I mean, you literally are walking. It's bizarre. And here's all these. I mean, I remember seeing a mommy gator and all her little babies, and they're sunning themselves. And I'm like, don't mess with them, man. Don't mess with the mama. But I mean, and all those. I mean, talk about the tropical plants and the birds. I mean, the birds there are just. I love that park. I want to go back so bad because I love the swamps. I think they're cool.
Yeah,
I really like them.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. Like I say, I kind of gravitate more to the mountains. But then when you go to a place like the Everglades, or even up, you go to Acadia, and you just see different things. It's just every park has something to offer. And that's why we always joke, it's always hard to pick a favorite because every park is so beautiful in its own right and has something, new to offer.
Yeah. I'm glad you brought up Acadia. It's something we've never been there yet, and I can't wait. Our goal is to go to all 417 national park units. And I know we thought we could do it on a 5-year trip, but we're like you. We kept going back, like to the Sequoias.
Yeah.
We kept going back. Excuse me, Yosemite. We kept going back, and it was like we're like, okay, we're never going to make this goal, but there's so much to cover, and we've had to balance it out because you could go to one park for the rest of your life and still not learn everything. And I think
That's
it's so
true.
neat because it's protected, and all these ecosystems and all you can really study things properly. But Acadia, I want to do that. Isn't that where the people go to the top of a mountain and go and see this amazing sunrise?
Yeah, Cadillac Mountain, it is. Unfortunately, when I was there, it was all cloudy every day, so we'd get up early to try to go see the sunrise and never got that full effect because it was always cloudy when we were there. But other people's pictures are amazing of the sunrise there.
Oh, awesome. So you've pretty much done all 4 corners of the country. Have you come out to the southwest, like below Utah?
Yeah, I've been quite a bit. I still, I did up in the Northwest, I did Olympic, but I didn't get through, North Cascades. I didn't hit Crater Lake that I still need to get to up there.
Man, I know.
And then the ones, of course, off the coast are hard to get to. Like, if you go back down to Florida, off to Dry Tortugas, I haven't been there. The harder ones to get to, the Hawaiian ones, I've not yet seen. Those are on the bucket list still.
Ooh, that I know the bucket list. We all have these big lists. You know what I mean? I have maps all around me, and that's one of the things. The first thing I saw when I was looking at your T-shirts, you've got the map, and I'm a map freak. It doesn't mean that I know how to not get lost because I do that very well. I have a thing, and I'm anti-GPS. I know that I should use it, but there's something about getting lost. It's a good thing, It's a fun thing to do. But I love maps, and you have all the parks on there, and it gives you this idea. And as this, our conversation now, it just is always mind blowing to me. We have swamps in the Everglades, we have mountains over here, we have coastal forts. I mean, Dry Tortugas, you're off on an island with a fort. I mean, it is absolutely mind blowing the land that we have in this country, how diverse it is. But when you put it all on a map like that, it's like, wow, think of all these different places like Zion and, this high desert and saguaros. And what are you going to do when there's another, national park made? I don't know if we're going to get one for the next few years, but,
I know.
Are you going to go and change the design?
Yeah, they do keep talking about it, and it sounds like that there might be 2 bills that are being, trying to be passed right now. One was to make Indiana Dunes the 60th National Park, and that's nice because that's close to us here in Illinois.
Yeah.
And the other one just came up recently, I think a day or two ago, was the Gateway Arch in St. Louis, to turn that one into a national park. So, you know, we hear all the time that they're trying to, you know, get these passed, and, you know, I try to limit the inventory that I have right now in stock because I don't want to, you know, buy a ton of stuff and then they change it. So I wait like everybody else. You know, I'm excited if they do add the 60th. I'll be happy to change my design and, you know, put a new one on there. I think it's great for, you know, the country. I think it's great for, you know, people like us who love the outdoors to add a 60th park. So it'll, you know, hurt me with the inventory that I have. But, hey, then we just put that on sale, right?
Yeah, because people still, you know, it was so funny because it was right before the centennial of the parks, and when we had decided, okay, let's do the tour. It was 2013, and when we'd started the tour, I think it was like it was 2012 when we started to go on the road, you know, 100% with our Spirit of America tour. And Priscilla, our pink sock monkey, who loves wearing your gear, she loves wearing the hoorag as her dress, you know. So people, you're going to see a lot of photos of Priscilla over this year going to different places. She's going to bourbon country in Kentucky, so that's going to be interesting.
Oh,
You'll
very
see what
good.
happens with her. Yeah, we'll put her in Mammoth Caves and see how she survives that. But you know, when you think about all these parks, I remember there was 397, and everyone was talking about the 397, and there's some other park sites I know that we're friends with, and all of a sudden it changed, and we got into like, oh, now we're like 400 and something, and everybody's scrambling. I know a company that, you know, their whole business was named after that number, and I'm like, well, you know, you may not want to do that. But, yeah, we're always having to change, you know, the number. And, I mean, as we're on the road thinking we're going to do 397, suddenly it's like, no, now you're at 417. We're like, thank you. This is cool. We like it. We like those changes. But people wear those old numbers because it's like it shows part of our history of progression of protecting these places. So I think it's a good thing, you know, when we add on it. We need as much of that. I know that you're also a teacher. So going to parks, do you have like a connection with that, thinking about the future generations, you know, since that you work with kids and our youth, are you always thinking of that as well? Like, this is a great hiking spot and this is so beautiful, but is there that mindset as well? Because I know you also, through, you know, your sales, donate a percentage to the National Parks Foundation and also to the National Parks Conservation Association. So is that part of your mindset, is looking at the youth and parks?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I teach 8th grade, which is such a fun age. And I do have some kids who have never, you know, been out hiking, have never been to a national park. So, you know, after I travel in the summer to a park or two, then I come back and start a new school year, and I tell my students about the places I've seen and the wildlife I've seen, and I try to get them encouraged to get out to a national park. I just think it's important. I feel that, you know, we're better people for having been out in those places. And if I can get them out away from the video games and away from social media to get out into the great wild and the unknown, it's a wonderful thing. And it is important for us to give back to the Park Foundation. Even before I started the business, I was always you know, donating to them. And when I go to a park, they have the jars out there, you know, give money to the parks. I do that. I buy all of their merchandise, you know, their pins, their banners, their decals, their T-shirts as well, just because I want these places preserved so that I can continue to visit them, and then certainly the next generation and the generation after that can continue to visit them.
Awesome. I'm so glad that you do that with your company. I think it's such a positive role model, you know, for the business world to look at that. It's like, you know, my Nana always, you know, when it comes to gardening, she's always talking about you plant one parcel for you, one for God, and one for nature, you know, because you got to divide it out, because you always just say, oh, it's just all for me. It's not going to work, and you're going to be upset all the time. But I think there's such a nice balance, and I always get excited to see companies like that. What gave you the idea to say, hey, you know, I'm a teacher, I'm out hiking on my summer vacations, and suddenly, like, hey, why didn't I just start something else, another career, and add a business to my life?
Yeah, you know, that's kind of crazy, too, because after, you know, every summer, like I said, going to the parks, and I would come back fresh and renewed, and I'd start a new class, and, you know, you introduce yourself to your students every year, and I always told them I was a national park junkie, and I would tell them about the places I went to, and, you know, my travels, like I mentioned before. And when I do go out to the parks and I visit them and I buy their T-shirts, I was always then starting to look for one that said that. Like, wouldn't it be cool if I had a T-shirt that said I was a national park junkie? And I had been looking for that shirt for years, and I could never find one. So I was like, well, how about if I just create it and see what happens? So we really kind of started the business around that one design, which is our best-selling design by far. But then, I took the business with the whole hiking footprint, the wanderlust, the where will you leave your mark, and I have that aspect too, so I can grow in different areas, not just the parks, but just hiking in general, just wanderlust in general. But, it just started for me wanting the T-shirt that I finally created, which was in my head for so many years.
I love the word wanderlust. That's one of my favorite words. That and biodiversity, those are my two favorite words.
Yeah.
When it comes to parks and land. And, it's interesting because you talk about, there's that take nothing and leave no trace, but you're like, we do leave a trace. And when you talk about leaving your mark, it's really your footprint. It's not necessarily like, hey, we're leaving trash everywhere. I want to touch on that because you're talking about like a piece, you always take a memory with you, and you become part of the land. You become part of that landscape when you go there.
Absolutely. Yeah, because the park's, mantra was take nothing, leave nothing. And I firmly believe that. But part of me was like, well, I do feel like I take something because every time I leave a park, part of it comes with me. It's in my heart. It's in my soul. And I feel like part of me was left behind as well. So that was kind of where our whole where will you leave your mark came from. It's not in defiance of the park's mantra. It's just showing that, we do take something and we do leave a little bit of us behind as well. Certainly not our trash. We take all that out.
Yes.
But, we do leave, with the park, and we do leave a part of us there as well.
And talking about your gear too, you've got, the National Park-Junkie and the map, and so you've got T-shirts and everyone. They're nice. I like the material on that, and the hoorag rag. The hoorag rag is fun. Now Priscilla wears it as a dress, but they haven't been around that long, and you can wear them in all kinds of ways. I mean, you can use them around your neck. I mean, you've got bandanas, but bandanas and hoorags are two completely different things. Yeah, our bandanas almost are kind of decorative than they are your traditional wear them, although I've had people, wear them. They're wearing them, and they actually even put them around their dogs and things. But for us, it was more decorative. I've had people frame them. I've had people wrap them around corkboard, highlight the parks that they've been to, stick pins in the corkboard from the parks that they've been to. So it's more decorative that way. The hoorag was really meant to be the wearable, and that one is, kind of like it could be a headband, it could be a scarf, it could be, a face protector. There's a dozen different ways to even wear it on your head, which is kind of fun, depending on your hair, your hairstyle, or your mood. You can wear it whatever way you want. So I use it
for
a bad hair day.
Yeah, absolutely.
I
use it just when I'm out running. I use it, to run. In Chicago, it's cold, so I'll use it as a face protector when I run in the cold. So it comes in handy.
Yeah, I like that. And then the T-shirts, and I think it's cool because you are out there, and you kind of connect. I bet you that it becomes a conversation piece. Now, do you find people stop you when you're hiking with your gear on, and hey, I want to be a national park junkie?
All the time. Every single time I wear that shirt, it elicits some kind of conversation from someone. And it doesn't matter if I'm in the grocery store or I'm in the Narrows in Zion. People that get it, and they want to talk about it. And so it always starts a conversation whenever I wear it. And they're great conversations. Park junkies are fun people. They've had fun experiences. They can recall their last trip with great nostalgia, and then they talk about the upcoming trip with equal enthusiasm. And they make for great stories and great conversations. And usually then I pass a business card off and make a sale just in that conversation as well.
Yeah, no, that's cool. And the decals, too, that's pretty cool because you can put them on your water bottles. My immediate thing is to put them on a guitar case. That's like the thing.
Oh yeah,
like,
absolutely.
You know, you can put them on everything, and I think it's something really cool because to have that wanderlust. And as a teacher, you know, if kids had that on their pencil bags, I don't even know if they have pencil bags anymore. Like, you know, when I went to school, you know, it's like, here, you know, keep your dreams of still traveling and exploring. You know, I think people have to have that reminder because we get into that world of, you know, behind our screen all the time, and we forget, like, you know, capture that essence of who we are. That's that free spirit we're all born with, is to go and explore. You know,
absolutely.
So that's how the world was founded, was people flying, and not just flying, but I mean going across on ships and exploring, you know, these big expeditions. Right. So, you know, I think it's exciting, you know. So I love your whole wanderlust part of it. It's a cool thing. Where is your next destination? Where's your next park that you're going to go to?
Yeah, you know, I oddly don't have a trip right now for spring plan, which is coming up very soon. Just haven't had a chance to plan it, but I am looking out towards summer and heading back to Alaska. I've been to Alaska twice, and I've done, like Glacier Bay in Denali, and I love bears, and I think the best place to go and see the bears would be to Katmai National Park in Alaska. So I think I'm going to pull that one off sometime this summer.
I'm going to be glued to your Instagram. I love following you on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook. Everyone keep up with Jodi there. And everyone will find you. That's under Wanderlust, right? For everybody on your social media. Yeah,
because Wanderlust is, it's such a common word now, especially it's really kind of popping up everywhere. So I couldn't put my social media under Wanderlust, though that's the name of the business. It's under Wanderlust Mark. So on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram, you'll find me as Wanderlust Mark, which is kind of the play into the tagline, where will you leave your mark? Yeah.
Yeah. So, and everyone, if you go to wanderlustmark.com, you can, you know, connect to all the social media, because I think we all have a thing about it. It's like wake up in the morning with your coffee and look at everybody's park visits, you know. And it's hard. It's hard because when you go to a park, you just want to like give everybody the entire album and say, look at this.
I know,
look
right?
At this bug. You know, look at this over here. You know. So it's exciting, but I am super excited. I have never been to Alaska, and I have wanted to go to Alaska, you know, since I was a little kid. I really want to go there because that pristine natural environment it's calling me. It's going, Lisa, you must come. You must come out here. Have you been to the Sequoias?
I went there last summer actually, and that was amazing. Yeah.
Did you see bear? That's what I was going to say, because when we were there, we saw bear in the spring, and I love going on the shoulder seasons like spring and then fall. And we went hiking around one of my favorite places, this Crescent Meadow area. I mean, I love meadows. I could just get in there and roll like a bear in the meadow. You know, all the wildflowers and everything. When we were hiking around the meadow, and we heard this scratching, this like, you know, loud, and we're like, what is that? Well, it was all the bears scratching on all the dead trees, getting the worms because they were all getting ready to hibernate. Well, we came across a mama bear and her little cubs. Oh, my gosh. We were so lucky. So she just let them out of there, but we're like, okay, you don't want to get too close to a mama bear.
Right.
You know. But did you see bears when you were out there?
No, and I was so bummed because we kept talking to people, you know, on the trip, and they would be like, oh, did you see the bear in the valley? Did you see the bear, you know, in the meadow? I'm like, no, I just came from there. It just seemed like we kept missing bears. And so it was a beautiful trip. We did, you know, Yosemite, we did Sequoia, we did Kings Canyon, but I did leave after that week having not seen a bear, so I was a little disappointed in that. But the waterfalls made up for it, and the trees made up for it.
Oh, so and you went last year, you said? Perfect, because they had all that big snow over the winter, you know, and it was oh, thank goodness. And they were pretty dry before that. And we were there a year before you. We went to Tacoma, I think it was called Tacoma Falls, and it was this it was just like this marble granite outcroppings. It was amazing, and there were marmots everywhere, and I love that park. I love it out there. And Kings Canyon is. Did you do Zumwalt Meadow in that area?
Yeah, just to drive alone through Kings Canyon was beautiful. I don't know what my expectation was of it, but it exceeded it.
A lot of people call it Little Yosemite because of the big, canyons. I mean, it's just so glacial, So a lot of people call it Little Yosemite, and I love it out there. It's just so beautiful, and we've done pretty much every season other than and we've been there in winter too with the snow. It's cool. I love it. And Yosemite, we did Yosemite in the snow too. It was really neat. Have you done any of the parks in the snow because it's just so quiet.
I know, and that is a big goal of mine to hit them, in these different seasons. Being a teacher, I'm kind of locked into most of my travels are, over the summer. But when retirement comes around, rest assured, I'll see them all in the fall and the winter, because it offers you, different things to go in those different seasons. But typically I am more of a summer traveler.
Yeah. Oh, I see you with a big RV. nationalpark-junkie.com. It's like everywhere she goes, she'll go to campfires, look at my T-shirts. I got decals. If you need a hoorag, just come over. Come over to my RV here.
We had people that stopped us in Great Smokies because we were wearing our T-shirts, and I was like, well, I do have a couple in the car. They're like, we'll follow you. So I went to my car. I had some in there and, actually sold some right there in the parking lot, which I'm probably not supposed to do, but it was only 2 shirts.
Hey, America, it's a land of free enterprise. I love it.
Right.
I love it.
That's awesome. Kind of a neat...
Go ahead.
I was going to say, it's kind of a neat story, too. When we were in Alaska 2 years ago, there was a man that came. He was like walking by the bus that we were getting on, and he had my shirt on. And we got off the bus, and because I didn't know who he was, it was a total random stranger, and I had been in business less than a year. And there I was in Talkeetna, Alaska, of all places, and this guy goes walking by our bus wearing my National Park Junkie shirt. So I hop off the bus, I go over, I introduce myself to him. I'm like, can I please take your picture? And he was just so warm and receptive, as all park people are. He just thought it was a cool story, too. And, we shared pictures together and swapped information, and it was just a neat moment for me because, like I said, I had been in business less than a year, and there I was in Alaska, and somebody walked by wearing my shirt. It was crazy.
That's cool. That happened to my mom, Nancy. Because she's a wildlife artist. That's how we ended up in Kenya and all over the world, trailing around into all these areas. And she had done I can't remember if it was a giraffe or it was a lion cub, I think, a pen and ink sketch. And somebody had basically stolen her art. And we were in Kenya, and I think it was Nairobi, and I can't remember the story 100% like she was, but we're walking down the street, and this guy walks by with a T-shirt with her art on it, and she's like, "Excuse me,
oh my.
that's my picture," and he was like, "No, it's not," and she's like, "Hello, look at the name. Here's my, look at my signature." And somebody was profiting off of her art. It was crazy.
Oh my gosh!
And I mean, in the middle of Kenya, of all places, there it is.
Yeah.
Someone's walking around with her art. It was just, it's amazing where T-shirts go. And it was just, and then when you're in Kenya, and this was in the mid '70s. Like, how are you going to fight that when someone is in the States doing this? You just kind of like,
maddening, though.
Yeah, someone just totally stole it. But, I mean, T-shirts travel, and I like it because I think what you've got is such a positive message out there. So I really like what you're doing. So congratulations on, getting this started and getting it out there. And I can't wait to see what's going on in Alaska. So I'm glad you're going there. And if you need spring, you're welcome to come out here because right now it's, the first week of February, and it's spring here. We got flowers. The brittle bush is starting to bloom, and we don't have winter here in Tucson anymore. It decided to leave us alone and go see you. So if you want to come down here, please do. It's beautiful.
I know. I like your pictures. They look nice and warm compared to the view that I have now.
Well, I think it's cold if it goes down to 50 degrees or even 70. To me, it's cold. So I wouldn't do very well in Chicago or Illinois. But we are going to get out to your area soon. You've got a lot of parks, around surrounding the whole area. So, and I hope that arch in Missouri does actually, the St. Louis, does actually become a park. I think all these parks, if we can have more parks in urban areas, the better for kids and for people to have some walking space and even preserving the history. So I'm hoping that does come to fruition. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Everyone, you can go to nationalpark-junkie.com, and from there go to wanderlustmark.com. And then I know that some of your shirts are in actual national park stores. Do you want to tell everybody in case they're traveling there this summer?
Yeah, we're actually in 4 different national park stores. We're in Zion at Bumbleberries. We're in Bryce at Ruby's General Store. Great Smoky Mountains, they have our shirts at Ranger Bob's. And then in Rocky Mountain National Park, we're at Moosley Tees. So they've been selling our shirts for us as well, which is very exciting for us.
So you see that happening more and more as your business grows, that you're going to have more retail outlets for people too.
Yeah, I'm hoping, to grow that, a little at a time. Like I said, I'm a teacher by day, so, I try to just pick up a store here and there, and these 4 have been really receptive and have been selling quite a lot of shirts for us, actually. They exceeded our expectations in their sales, so it's been fun. It's been a great learning experience for me, and I just love the fact that our merchandise is connecting with people that love the parks, that love being out there and hiking and, connecting with us.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much. Everybody, again, nationalparkjunkie.com or wanderlustmark.com, and on social media to follow Jodi and her park adventures in Alaska coming up. Go on Wanderlust Mark on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Thanks so much, Jodi. It's been a true pleasure.
Thank you, Lisa. I really appreciate it.